So for those that saw the the flyer for today's discussion, we're going to be talking about how to turn your to go from paycheck to become an entrepreneur for prosperity. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And so my name is Collins Mwadi, and this group is Financial Literacy and Money Matters. And I want to start off with asking you a question. If nothing really changes about your income or your habits, where do you honestly see yourself in 10 years? Are you paying the same rent or higher? Do you have the same level of stress or has it increased? Are you at the same job or just some version of it? Maybe you're making a little more money, but the bills keep growing more and more. I know a lot of you already feel this. You're doing your best. Some of you work two jobs. You're supporting your family here. Some of you are supporting your family back home. You help your church. And still, the numbers just don't seem to move up in the direction that you want them to. It's like you're filling a bucket with a tiny little cup, and there's a hole at the bottom. You're busy, but you're not really catching up. So I want you to sit with that 10-year question for a second, because pretending that it's fine is actually more dangerous than facing the problem. There's some financial education gaps that we have to explain. There's many adults that can't cover a small emergency without stress. Some numbers that I saw was $400. They don't have $400 in case of an emergency to cover for it. A lot of families have little or no retirement savings whatsoever. Millions say that they need more life insurance to protect their loved ones. If they were, God forbid, to die today, there's not enough money saved over in life insurance to protect their loved ones. And I want to stress that it's not because these millions of people are dumb, but it's because the money was never taught as a real skill. They're not really lazy. Some might think, oh, they're lazy, they don't want to work hard and earn a lot of money, but it's really about the learning money as a skill. They were never taught this. If schools were, if the schools that we went to never showed us how money really works, how are we supposed to get ahead, you know? So it's never about shaming them. School taught you how to pass tests, not how to build financial stability. So you find that a lot of the time, people are just improvising with money, going one day at a time. And that's the gap that we want to work in. We have to build the skill of money. As financial professionals, understanding how money works is essential for families to achieve lasting financial security and to make informed decisions that impact their lives and futures positively. As these financial professionals, we prioritize listening to families' needs. We sit down, we provide personalized education on different financial products and services, and we ensure that every conversation is meaningful and informative to these clients. Then you earn income through uncapped income, by the way, through commissions that are paid by the insurance company, which allows you to focus on helping more clients without charging them directly for these valuable financial solutions. It's a journey to financial empowerment. Think about a young immigrant from Rwanda that moved here and had to start over again. I know one, his name is John, and he works warehouse nights, and it was so stressful. And one day he decided, you know what? I'm going to go learn the basics of insurance and compounding compounding interest, you know? Once he learned that, he started explaining it to his friends, and then he realized, wait a minute, why am I not getting paid to do this properly in an organized manner? So he went ahead, got licensed in his state in Texas, and started helping families on the weekends when he wasn't working. Before long, he had started to make enough money through his, you know, selling these financial products to his friends and their friends and their families that he was able to transform his entire life, successful career as a licensed financial advisor. Stopped all those warehouse nights shifts that he was doing that were putting his life at risk. So what we do as financial professionals is not really magic. We just turn money from something that's scary to understand into something that is teachable. We learn it, then we teach it, then we help people put real solutions in place. And then you got these companies that will pay us to do just that. So you might be wondering, is this path for me? You know, if you're thinking, why don't I just DoorDash more or pick up another shift at my job? You absolutely can. But notice something. A second job means more hours traded in, and it's the same pattern over and over again. The path that I'm showing you today means learning a high value skill that can pay more per hour and building something that outlives your shifts. So if you want a second income engine, not just another job, and you can give 5 to 10 focused hours a week for at least 6 to 12 months, and you're willing to study, get licensed, and be coached, and you care about helping families, then and instead of just making back here and there, then this might be a great fit for you. And I encourage you to learn more. On the other hand, if you want easy money or passive income right away, or you won't protect time for appointments with clients or training to get yourself educated, just like you'd protect time for the gym, for example, or your Bible study time, then this probably might not be the right fit for you. If you hate talking to people, if you refuse to grow, you're like, I'm happy with what I know and I don't need to learn more. Or if you don't want the responsibility for running a real business yourself, your own business, then this might not be the right fit for you. Because at the end of the day, I want you to be informed because a lot of people, actually, the last number that I heard was about 3% of people that get licensed never really do anything with their license. So if you know you won't put in consistent time, this probably isn't for you. But if you will protect those hours, 5 to 10 in a week, that's about like 1 to 2 hours a week. This can absolutely change your financial trajectory. And this is what the timeline looks like. You begin by learning how money works, how protection works, how life insurance works from a national established financial organization. And this is where you get that a good foundation most people were never taught. But every entrepreneur needs this foundation. But even at this stage, as you'll see, you can start introducing families and friends and acquaintances, co-workers to this kind of information that you're learning. You sit down, you can sit down in on educational conversations like this one, this platform. You can shadow like a licensed professional when they go along to visit families and give products. And then as you help educate families, you will get compensated through referrals. So you're kind of learning the business by doing, not just studying in isolation. Okay. So you'll notice here that you study while you're serving clients. You get your license while you're serving clients. You train other team members as you continue serving clients. So you serve all the way through. So you've studied, you've been in these sessions, you feel like you have a good understanding of this field. You go in and you earn your life insurance license. This helps you gain the legal authority and credibility to directly serve families and co-sign, not co-sign, but like actually underwrite the policies yourself instead of going through a licensed professional. So that way you can operate as a professional, not just like a side hustler guessing as they go, you know? And then next step is that through structured training and mentorships with people that have been doing this for a long time, you learn how to communicate clearly. You learn how to serve ethically without trying to rip people off or lie to them or manipulate them. And you actually guide people through important financial decisions with confidence, knowing that what you're telling them is really going to transform their lives for the better. So then you begin working with clients, applying what you've learned to solve real problems, and giving you the uncapped potential to earn while creating value, trust, and long-term opportunity. Have you ever started something and quit simply because you had no real guidance? I've been there. You try to learn something, but then you hit a wall and there's nobody that you can ask. So here, um, the good thing with being a part of a community is that you receive personalized guidance through your journey to financial education and independence. There'll be step-by-step help with pre-licensing and passing the exam. There'll be You'll practice real life scenarios with mentorship to build confidence and effective communication skills while you ride along so you're not just guessing in front of the clients in the future. You can also, like I said, you can ride along on your first appointment so that you learn by watching. And basically, my point here is that we don't just throw you, you know, to a contract and say good luck. We want to walk beside you until you can walk on your own. I know it's your business, it's still your business, but we refuse to let you fail simply because no one showed you. So you might have heard about this business opportunity being talked about as building a lasting legacy. It's in a couple phases, and I'll describe them to you. So at first, your income comes from sitting down with families and teaching them about different financial products and then selling them those financial products to these families that need them. That's phase one of your income, how you make money. Over time, if you choose, you can move into phase two, where you build a team. So maybe it's one other hustler, or maybe it's a friend from church. Maybe it's a cousin who's just tired and fed up with their job that doesn't give them enough hours, or it's too demanding, or they have no time at all to spend with you. Then you can introduce them to this and build a team. So you bring them in, you help them get licensed, you train them where and you support them along the way. And then the company that you bring them into pays you some of what they produce through their sales, because you're helping grow the mission, right? So that's the part that that's the part that can still pay you when you're tired, when you're sick, when you're older, when you're not able to make those visits yourselves to different families that need help. And that's exactly what people mean when they talk about legacy in this business. So it's not like it's lottery checks. It's a book of clients that you've started, back when you were by yourself, and then a team that can still bring value even when your energy dips. So you can see an example in this slide here of a family, a lady. She's spending time with her children, um, but she has a team that she was able to train and pour all her resources into, that is working, earning, and some of the portion of what they make comes back to her. She put in her work, okay, and they'll eventually do the same thing, and it can be continue to be passed down, all down to generations. So building a business with a team is like owning a small apartment. You still work. You still have to go there and make sure that everything is running correctly, the water is running, there's no broken pipes, there's none of that, paint is new, do a little bit of maintenance. But the structure itself has value. As time goes on, that structure is appreciating. And sometimes it might even have um, income through rent. There's like some cash flow there. So that's how I would think about that legacy. So in conclusion, this is where we land. If you're totally content with where your money is headed, I'm genuinely happy for you. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're that young professional, you're that unskilled immigrant, you're a pastor who's tired of begging for money, or you're a side hustler who feels that quite, there has to be more than this, then ignoring opportunities like this is actually the risky move, if you think about it. So I'm not asking you to sign up tonight. I'm not asking you to, do anything that's out of an informed decision. I'm just asking you to get informed, right? Ask your questions. We're going to open it up here shortly for a Q&A, but ask me or one-on-one. You can reach out to the person that invited you, or reach out to me. I'm going to be sharing my information here shortly, and we can have a one-on-one and talk about what your needs are and what you're looking to achieve. Secondly, I'd look at the official income disclosures to get an idea of how much better is this opportunity than your current job. Understand the different licensing costs, and then decide, like an adult, whether this pathway is worth 6 to 12 months of your serious effort. If it still feels right, start pre-licensing. Commit 5 to 10 hours a week for 6 to 12 months. See if it pays off. I would say if your curiosity is at least a 7 out of 10 right now, then your next step is simple. Let's get together after this and let's get you informed. My goal tonight really was to give you like a grown-up understanding of what this path really is. Your job now is to decide if it's worth a serious effort, 6 to 12 months experiment in life. If the answer is yes or maybe, we'll walk you through the next steps. Um, if it's no, I still hope you leave with more clarity than you came into this presentation with. So yeah, go ahead, take action. This isn't like hype, really. It's a nudge, because doing nothing is a decision too. So I'd say go on and take the next step, your journey to financial freedom. All right. So I'm very pleased that there's some comments here. And I want to encourage you, if you have any questions at all about anything that we talked about that I just presented here today, or any questions that you came in with, I'd love to hear them. And perhaps we can share some knowledge, wisdom, ideas to try and help everybody um, take something out of this meeting. All right, I have a hand. Miss Immaculate Vicinje, go ahead. Open up your mic and talk to us.
Oh, thank you once again, Collins. That was very clear. Um, in this world, really, we have to try. It doesn't matter how someone is educated. You may think maybe I'm an engineer, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, I'm making good money, but there is never enough money out there. So I believe today's message reminds us that true prosperity is shaped not by how much we earn, by how much we think, really, how much we value what we have today. Is it enough? Does it hurt if I earn more? So the transition from paycheck dependencies to entrepreneurial prosperity begins with that mindset, shifting the mindset. Can I make more money? Can I do better? Can I actually serve my communities better with my time? Do I have that extra time even to serve? I start with even serving because being a financial professional is different from doing working job paycheck to paycheck, or working 8 to 5 or to 6 job, because right there you go in, you put your time, you get your money back. But here, as a financial professional, we actually serve. We serve with a purpose, but that purpose serves us better because we become our own, actually, we become our own, bosses. Nobody's telling us what to do today or tomorrow. So I believe having that shift will help us actually to earn more by being more creative, adding value to our families, ourselves, and our communities. And actually, it will help us to move from short-term gains to long-term vision, like you're showing us. Other than just working today and tomorrow, am I actually creating something of value, having a team that can work when I'm retired? Remember, in these professional jobs that we're talking about, the ones you presented, Collins, you can start today. In 5, 10 years to go, you can actually sell your because that is your business. That business can make you more money even when you're no longer there. So you said it beautifully. I want to thank you once again for that. We need to make actually deliberate steps towards building what is sustainable than staying in the old, whereby we feel like I have to go work for someone so that someone can pay me something. Create something of value that you can actually stay for the generations to come. I thank you once again, Collins. That was brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you for your inputs. Appreciate that. We have a question from John. He would like to know the initial investment involved for the licensing part. So John, The licensing is by state. So depending on which state you live in, there'll be different requirements to get your license. And it also depends company to company. Some companies might offer you some discounts on the pre-licensing exam, and some states have a requirement for how many hours you have to study before you can take the exam. So it really depends on where you live and your circumstances. So I'd encourage you to go ahead and reach out to me, and we'll set up a meeting, me and you, and we'll talk about your specific situation. Sounds good? And the exam is not very hard. No. Um, I live in California. In California, you need 60% to pass. And the pre-licensing test that you take, they're pretty much the same exact questions that come in the exam. So as long as you take those tests, you practice them, and you really understand these things out of not because you're trying to cram, but because you want to understand them, then it'll be pretty easy to pass them. Yeah, 60%, that's a C. You can do it. I have another question from Sharon. Please go ahead and open up your mic and share with us.
Thank you, Colin, for that informative presentation. It's always great to know what opportunities are out there for people to take part of. My question is really, so you kept giving examples of maybe people that are tired of or don't like what they do, or maybe aren't skilled, so they want a different alternative. So my question is really for people who actually enjoy what they do, but they're looking for, ways to keep growing even and diversify income. I think Smek said it very well that there's it's difficult to be at a point where you're like, oh, I have too much money. But the whole idea of diversifying is important. So how can it look practically when a person is starting out, but they are still just as involved in their regular profession? How can this look like for them? And what is the growth trajectory for such a person?
Wonderful. That's a really good question, Sharon. Thank you so much for raising that. What I will say on that is it's a personal business. So when you work for many of these companies, you're an independent contractor. What that means is that you get to determine your hours, you get to determine how much effort you put into the business. And based on how much effort you put in, especially at the beginning, it determines how much you get out of it. So let's say you have another full-time job. Like my friend that was a warehouse worker, it was full-time. So what he did was start off just on the weekends talking to families that he knew, families that were his neighbors or some colleagues at work. And what I was recommending through my presentation is 5 to 10 hours. That's 1 to 2 hours a week. That will help you build your business, but it might take a little bit longer than somebody who commits full time. Because if you're doing full time, 6 to 8 hours a day, you can imagine that you'll be able to talk to a lot more. You'll be able to um, write to a lot more people via email or visit a lot more families and be able to grow your team that much faster. But that's not to discourage anybody that is currently working, especially at the beginning. You want to take your time. At the end of the day, you need to first go into the field, learn. There's a learning curve to it to learn how to communicate well to these people, to understand the product sufficiently, to go and ride along experienced professionals to see how it's done. I do not recommend to just leave your job cold turkey, although some people have done it and been successful. it's not for everybody, especially if you have a family that you need to take care of. It's not wise. So yes, go ahead, start part-time, do 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours a week. Maybe in a month or two, if you're starting to get the hang of it, increase it to 3 hours. Then eventually you can do part-time in your other job, part-time here. And then once your money that you're making in your business is equal or maybe even more than the money that you're making in the other job, leave it. But then, you mentioned that you might be working a job where you're satisfied and you're happy with it. In which case, you can have both. Part time on either side. If you have the time for that, then I'll definitely encourage it. I find that sometimes a lot of the times we do jobs that aren't rewarding. You feel like you're just making some other guy money, and it's not really something that is close to your heart. You feel like it's self-actualizing. You're just doing it for the money. And if that's you in the audience, then by the time you make more money as your business, you don't need the other one either. Because if the factor was just the money, you've already passed that. If if you're working in a job that you're not satisfied, you don't see the value that you're bringing in. If you do this job as your business and you see families getting transformed, families getting chronic illnesses or terminal illnesses and getting a paycheck to take care of them and their family for the rest of their life because they cannot work anymore, it brings satisfaction to your heart and you find it rewarding to be in that business. So you might end up saying, you know what, I don't care to work at McDonald's and serve people burgers. I'd rather dedicate my life to transforming families by teaching them how to manage their money, to learn about protection and life insurance, because these are things that everybody faces. There's three things that we got to ask ourselves in life. One is, what if I die too early? Okay, you're young. Every sign seems like you might live forever. You don't even ever think about death. But you gotta think about it. What if I die too young or too soon? The second thing is, what if I live long? I live longer than I'm able to work. You're living too long that you don't have any money left over for retirement. So you got to think about that too. You're not always going to have the energy or the capability to live that long. The third thing is, what if I get sick along the way? What if I get a terminal illness? What if, God forbid, I get into an accident and I break my legs and I cannot work anymore? So all those three things, we have to sit down with a financial professional and figure out contingency plans. What should I do when three things happen? And plan for them accordingly, because in life you just never know. And that's the value of learning about different financial products that can save you in those three situations. How can I join the company? John asks. So reach out to us, John. We'll definitely talk to you about it. There's different companies that you can join, and there's some that we recommend, but obviously that would be a more personal discussion with you and I. Okay, so thanks for your interest.
So I heard about if you feel like the same way Dr. Sharon was saying, this job or this business is not for people who are like, oh, I'm uneducated, I'm making less. Like we're talking about people who work maybe overnight. This business is really for those people who want to be their own bosses, who are tired of being like hustlers, who are tired of being told you have to be here at this particular time. So you want to do what you love, serving people, but serving your family as well without having, you want to build something of value that is going to go beyond today, that you're going to actually that is going to help you today, help your families and the future. So it's not actually like for me, Collins, if I might tell you, I don't know if I introduced my, you didn't say my name. I've been in this business for almost like 7 years now. I worked for corporate for over 15 years. I quit the job. This is what I'm doing full time. I'm happy. I work for myself. I own my own business. So it's not like anyone is telling me anymore that you can't take off today. You have to be here. This is something that you build for you and your family and the group you build. And the good thing you talked about it. It's a business you don't do by yourself. It's a business for yourself, but not by yourself. So you have a team, you have a family that you work with that is there to hold your hand until you reach actually, you maximize on your potential. So this is not for uneducated because we have doctors who quit their jobs. We have engineers who quit their jobs. We have nurses who quit their jobs who are doing this because they have a purpose. They are feeling like actually depending on a check from someone else is not sustainable for me. I want to build something that I know I can actually manage and feel like my life and my family will be set for life. That is actually, this is a very interesting discussion. We need to have this more often. Thank you, Collins, again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm just putting my contact information in the chat. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm available. And yeah, let's turn it over to Mr. Roy, please. Open your mic and share with us.
Hello, Mr. Collins, Mr. Immaculate, and everybody. The great information, and especially the financial information that is being shared today by an engineer, Mr. Collins. This is just one of the great examples of how great this platform is. People, as alluded by Mr. Immaculate, this is people from all walks of life. We all get into education for a final reason, which is to earn a living. Being a doctor, being a financial advisor, being a nurse. But how you get to be comfortable in life is what is important. Doctors, lawyers, nurses, engineers, we all work too hard. And this here gives us a platform to be able to achieve the goals and dreams a little faster. And that is through being in business for yourself, but not by yourself, and using the financial tools in the insurance field, the annuities, and many other products that come through this team of the Freedom Equity Group. Initial investment, $125, which goes towards the training and also gets you a platform where you have all the knowledge and training. And what I heard was building a legacy. This is important. I've been in the business for about 10, 15 years, and I still get paid by the clients that I visited many years ago. They invest money with you. They are your family. They become family, and it also leads to you having a generational income. When you build this business, it is a business that is willable, and it is a business that you can pass on to your next of kin. So this is a very great platform, great discussions, and thank you all for the, sharing. At the end of the day, we're looking for legacy. This is part of the ways and means that we can attain that legacy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing. Yeah, because if you think about it honestly, like if I help a family today, maybe it's a couple without kids yet, and they're able to get life insurance. We're like family with them, you know. Once they do have kids, maybe they'll call me and be like, "Hey, I just had my son. He's 6 months old. I want to get him, um, an indexed universal life insurance while he's still young." I'm their contact for those kind of questions and advice and products. And then maybe they're getting close to retirement and they're like, "Hey, Collins, what do I do with my, I want to get an annuity so it can pay me, every month for the rest of my life." It's me that they call. So when Mr. Roy says that you have a client for life, that's exactly not just that fact that once you sell them the product, you're always going to get some kind of cutback, like residual from every time they renew their product. But on top of that, you'll be their point of contact for any future questions regarding financial products. So that's why it's really good to learn how to connect with some of these families and stay in touch, call in, check in every once in a while. If something happens, maybe the investments are not doing very well, check in and be like, "Hey, can we revise it? I found a new um, index that is performing much better. Would you like to tweak it?" You stay in touch. Like, this is about helping them. It's not, we talked about earlier that if you're in this to make a quick buck, this might not be for you. But if you really want to help families um, get a hold and understanding of how to manage their money in a very successful and a fulfilling way, to make them rich and to make them secure and happy and protect their wealth, then this is what you got to do. You build a relationship with them and you check in and you provide the best advice that you can over time, throughout they'll connect you with their uncles and their aunties and their grandchildren all the way down. And once you're professional, you're always a professional. You always know these things, and you'll stay up to date with what's going on. So it's really one of those jobs that are very unique. Like we said, it's a business opportunity you just can't pass by, and it's unlike any other W-2 job that you can get out there. So
I have a
take advantage of
question.
it.
I have a question.
Yes, Leah, please.
Thank you guys. My name is Leah, and I'm still new here. I haven't been even like 1 month yet. I'm still new, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be a part of this team, and it's because of Tumahini. She's the one who brought me here. So I have a
Mm.
question. My question is about building a team. So be, I mean, building a team, is it the people that I'm selling the product? Is it my team, or the people that I'm inviting to like join to pay the $125 and they become also the agent and stuff like that? So what's the difference between those two things?
Yes, yes, that is actually a very great question, and welcome again, Rhea. So, to build a team, it's not like let's see it this way. So, the insurance companies, they have a product. They have a product, but they're not licensed to sell the product. So, you, as a financial professional who is licensed to sell, actually, you the only person who can sell their products. And how does this work? Why do you need a team? Because insurance companies, they have this big product, multi-billion-dollar products. They are trying to sell. They are trying to send to our communities, the Rwandese community, Burundian community, Congolese, American, whichever, everyone who wants a product. Who is going to get there? Different people who live all with those communities. So they compensate you for bringing other team members to the team. And as you bring the team members to the team, you're building your team, you get compensated for you actually referring this opportunity to other members who wants to make more money. The more money you make, the more money the companies make. So some people feel like, oh, do I have to recruit? You don't even have to recruit anyways. But if you don't, you're becoming just one earner. If you have 100 people under you, that they call that a base shop. A base shop meaning that every time anybody bring in into the company, you train them, you hold their hand until they know what they're doing. Because the company understands that you're putting in the time as a mentor, as a trainer, you're going to be compensated for every member when they sell the product. I just actually pinned the different ways of getting paid in the chat down there. You can see some people feel like, I don't know how to sell. How many people am I going to get? Some people are now good salespeople. They cannot actually be able to educate, but they can bring their other people to their team who can be great, actually better than them. And those people are going to help them make more money. As the company makes money, you make money. So if you don't know how to talk, get someone who is a good speaker, who is a good salesperson, who is good with the people. So who is good with numbers? So we work as a team, and each and every person has different qualities or different expertise to be able to sell. So that is actually how it works. You build a team. The more team you have, the more money, the more generational income you're able to create for yourself and for the company. That is why among the reasons I put there of being paid, there is those bonus pools. You get, actually you can look into the chat. We have personal production. Those are the people you help to sell the products to. Field training, those are the people, the new people you bring in and you train. The companies reimburse you for that. You become a field trainer. So we have some people who are just trainers. They don't even sell products, but they still get money. We have those renewals, renewable income. You know, you get renewals from your own products and from your team's product. The best shop is all over. If you have 200 people under your book, all those, they call it a best shop overrides. The infinity never ends, generational overrides. So it is a lot, Rhea. It is a lot to earn from this business. It's not just you selling a policy to one person and waiting for that commission. You can create a team, build it though, put in time, and you're going to sit back and enjoy the proceeds of it. Hope that helps. If not, we can go in details offline.
Yeah, thank you so much for the clarification. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You know, one thing, a few objections that I'd like to highlight that I've heard mentioned from friends and different people that I've brought this business opportunity to. And I want to share them, and maybe if you have them, they might shed some light for you and take it away. So the number one biggest one that I hear is about selling. A lot of people tell me, you know, Collins, I hate selling. I don't want to pressure people into buying things. Like, that's just not for me. If you picture selling as tricking people into buying stuff that they don't need, and you think that this is what we do, then please do not do this, because this is just not what we do. What we do is we ask questions. We get close, we listen to what's really going on financially into people's lives, you know. They open to us their vision financially, what they want to achieve. And we've learned a lot of the financial tools that are out there, financial products that can solve these problems that they have. And so we find a way to explain it, break it down into very simple, plain language that they can understand. Many of them are immigrants and they didn't grow up here. They don't necessarily speak English as their first language. So taking this jargon that has been locked away for the rich and the wealthy and the educated and finding a way to explain it clearly to the layman so they can understand and take advantage of these financial tools is what we're here for. And then once you lay down all the options, let them decide for themselves. Every family is different, everybody's needs are different. So we just try to give them the options and let them choose which one best fits their problem. So a lot of the people that do well in this industry as financial advisors and professionals aren't sellers. They aren't salespeople. They're teachers, people that know how to break down complicated topics into simple, digestible ideas. People that are like pastors that can break down, simple ideas. People that care about the well-being and flourishing of their fellow human, like nurses, So you're not really here to pressure folks into buying things. You're here to educate and to guide them into a solution that they're actually looking for. Another objection that I hear a lot is, do you know what, Collins? I do not have time to go into this. And I can sympathize with that. I respect that. Most of us, are already stressed when you hear about opportunities like this. I was in that position too. And so that's why we usually tell people, if you cannot carve, 5, 10 hours focused, in a week consistently for at least 6 to 12 months, then this probably won't move the needle. Wait until you can get at least an hour a day in a week or 2 hours on the weekends consistently. That's when you're really going to gain traction. But so if you can protect those hours, like you would to protect an online class that you take part-time, or the hours that you spend in the gym, which it's also important, then those hours can become your new income engine. Okay. So you don't have to quit your job right away, without a backup, because you still have bills to pay. So I didn't quit right away. I continued to learn slowly and understand these projects, grow my network, understand get connected with different clients and different families. So we recommend that you come in, know the business, and then start part-time. Let the results tell you if it's worth more of your time, because it'll get to a point where you're making more money doing this than your job is paying you. And at that point, it's a no-brainer. Okay. So I don't have time is really, not a good excuse if you really dig deep to analyze it. Another objection that I hear a lot is, Collins, what if I fail? I'll have wasted so much time, so much effort. What if I fail? And honestly, a lot of people get licensed and they disappear. But as a business person, you should never be afraid of failure, because there's a lot of lessons that you can learn even from failure. All these people that get licensed and disappear, they don't show up to training, they don't make calls, they just don't turn up and run appointments. This is their work ethic. And if you do that, you'll fail here too. I promise you that. Because what this takes is somebody who's coachable, who's committed to put in the reps and give it a real 6 to 12 months run to see where it goes. And if it doesn't go the way you want it, you'll at least walk away with three things, okay? One, you have the financial education that most people never get in their entire life. That's one, okay? Secondly, you gain sales and communication skills that you can transfer anywhere else in your career, in your personal life. You can take it anywhere. Sales and communication skills are very important and marketable. And in many cases, based on personal experience, you gain a side income and the start of a business that, even though it might be still small, you can grow it in the future. You can rely on it to be a backup for your other full-time job, and it can give you solid income that can always be a fallback if something ever happens to your primary job. So you look at it like, even in failure here, it often leaves you better off than when you came in before. So yeah, I wanted to end with those objections that I've heard, because they're the same ones that keep people stuck in their honor mindset for years, sometimes decades, and they never get to accomplish their financial dreams. And now that we've seen the truth behind them, the next step is simply ownership. It's not a commitment. I don't want you to sign a contract. I just want you to own the question: is this something worth exploring for me and my future? The question is really the beginning of the shift from living paycheck to paycheck to thinking like someone who builds prosperity intentionally. You don't have to answer in front of anyone, but I want you to answer it for yourself, because no one else is coming to rewrite your next 10 years for you. You see? So as we wrap up, if you felt a pull, even a small one, toward learning how to move from earning to building, we're here to hold your hand. If you didn't, that's completely fine too. Either way, I appreciate the time you gave, the questions you asked, and the openness you showed, and willingness to come in and join in into this meeting. So be safe heading home, and whatever path you choose, make sure that you choose with intention.